Hello, everyone. This is Jason Rigby and Alexander McCaig, and we are talking about 14 different kinds of consciousness evolution beings that are in the vastness of the universe. That how do you say Ptah?
Ptah was a Plejaren Isfich, also known as a Yahweh. So he's a king of wisdom to the Plejaren people, extremely intelligent.
And this was on their 469th contact to Edward. And he asked the question about different species. And this was 11th August 2008. And I'll have you take off from here as we go into.
Well, you said the very first thing is what we should probably focus on here. Consciousness evolution beings. There are millions and millions, an infinite amount of beings, but ones that have been found actually have consciousness evolution. Walking, talking, thinking, self-aware, mentally and spiritually evolving humanoids. That's what we're discussing here. And they have found, the Plejaren Federation, 14 of which have been documented. Is that fair?
Yeah, 14 but people need to understand, as this universe is expanding, as we are to expand in our evolutionary consciousness, so is the universe. And in that expansion is, probably every day you have millions and millions of years of something that is growing from second density to third density. So new species could be possibly arriving every second, every minute, every day. Who knows what, with that expansion, what that looks like.
Yeah, we have no idea. It's like you look at a moth. They develop, they're evolving, their colors, their patterns change. Like no two moths are exactly alike.
Mothman.
Mothman with the red eyes. Given enough time.
Wasn't he in that in your neck of the woods, or was it in Pennsylvania? Where was Mothman at?
I thought that was like Kentucky.
I think you're right. I think
it was. I really.
You guys had something up there, though. There was some type of monster up in Pennsylvania.
Slender Man. Was it Slender Man?
Slender Man. I'll have to do some research because I know you guys have a monster up there.
Yeah,
I mean, we had the Bigfoot in Washington State.
Yeah, and not really a monster. Yeah, primitive being. We had in they called it the Bridgewater Triangle, close to where I'd actually grown up in Massachusetts. A lot of interesting things going on there. But
and you've seen alien craft, so
yeah, I've seen it. Probably close enough for me to throw a baseball at it, or a light rock. I could probably make it ting, like that close. That was my early years. Probably what got me off on this journey more than anything else. I think we had talked about it probably in some episode far back.
Yeah,
but you made such an important statement on our last episode, Jason. Is that people forget that we as human beings, the way we look, we're extraterrestrials.
Yes.
There are other people in this universe that look just like us. We share a very common genetic ancestry with many, many others. That's just what it is. And people want to think that we're not that special. It's like, well, the likelihood that you go to see an extraterrestrial and they look just like you, very high. Very, very high. Almost probably very difficult to actually distinguish between them as an Earth-based human, a Terra-based human, and one that would come from some planet millions of light years away. Only through conversation and probably the aura, and I say that in an energetic sense. People, you can be around them, they make you feel good.
Right.
It would probably be that sort of feeling. And you would understand by the logic of that individual, the way they speak, their purpose, and maybe they are like totally fucking telepathic. And you're like, why are you talking inside my head? You're probably off to something. But
I imagine like maybe not having genitals or, there has to be this evolutionary process where they would be millions of years ahead. So they may look exactly like us, but I guarantee you, like even from, there was a scientist and she's well renowned and she's now getting, she wrote an amazing book, and this sounds crazy, but you have to think about it. So testosterone count, size of your penis, and I'm going to use a funny word here.
The taint.
Yes. What she found out is through plastics. Because we're ingesting, I forgot how much it was, just breathing in plastic particles. because it's literally everywhere. It's in the ocean. The fish are eating it. We're eating it. And she was mentioning like styrofoam. Imagine that. Do you remember styrofoam coffee back in the day?
No, Jason, I only grew up on glass bottles. I think that explains everything.
But you could go to like 7-Eleven and you get a styrofoam petroleum-based cup and you'd fill it with super hot liquids and drink it constantly.
This
And
is
then you
so
go to
good.
work and there'd be styrofoam cups with water
Everywhere.
and you
Do you know
put tea in them. Do you know what you're doing? Do you know how much petroleum you're getting from that hot
So
liquid?
much.
Because that shit
And do
will
you know how
melt.
long it takes for that stuff to digest? The Earth, it takes over 1,000 years to get rid of styrofoam.
So since the 1950s, just with plastic, I mean, this is
Yeah.
70 years. We've had evolutionary processes in our bodies changing. So could you imagine millions and millions and years of the humanoids, the processes that would change? Maybe not like looks per se, but maybe their eyes would be a different offset.
Well,
maybe the
genetic
ears would be
engineering.
different. Yes.
Probably.
Oh, yeah, you have that too.
Probably perfectly symmetrical. You would see no ailments or rashes on the skin. You would see no black spots on the skin.
I bet you're right.
Just in the
CRISPR, all that
physical,
shit. Yes.
yeah, just in the aspect of looking at the person, there would be total symmetry,
No fat,
complete
probably.
balance, no fat. They'd be in perfect shape.
Yes.
Like that's the stuff you should be looking for. And probably they don't smell.
Living to probably, because what's the span? What did they say? I think Ross said that. Was it 140 years? Or humans
No.
can live how old?
They can live up to 2,000 if they are very advanced, and there's no issues with their genetics.
So,
And what did it say in the Bible? How long were those people living for?
Methuselah lived up to 1,000 before.
See,
the
here we
ozone
go.
layer fucked everything up. That's what the Bible says. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah. Why is the Bible talking about the ozone? Why is the Hebrew Bible talking about chlorofluorocarbons?
It also says the circumference of the earth.
Circumference?
The Hebrew text. Yeah, it talks about it being
circumference.
round.
Circumference. The circle is interfering with me.
Circular is, but we know for our flat Earth peeps, because they're out there that listen to this podcast. We want
We're
you
on
to
a
know.
flat. Yeah, it's a flat Earth with a glass dome over it. Jason, get your shit straight.
I know. I flew from Rome to Atlanta, and it was just a straight flight.
It's awesome. So happy for you.
I didn't feel myself going down at all in like a circle.
So what happens with gravity when I stand on the edge? Is it just where do I fall to? Does it just disappear?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, and then it's like the whole thing where there's ice firmament up above, and like satellites and rockets are all stuck into it.
Oh
I get the moon base. The moon base I can get because they believe
that's
like,
fine.
The moon
That's
is just
easy.
like a big base.
Yeah,
like it's hollow.
Cool.
Yeah, I'm down with that. That sounds cool.
I love it. Rings like a bell. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I mean, it's scientifically proven. What are all these astronaut photos and stuff? I mean, come on.
Yeah,
everything's based off of it.
If somebody sends me one more damn black and white photo, I was like, we have color photography. Stop sending me a pixelated fucking photo. I'm done with it. All right, so now that we're done talking about regular old humanoids that look like us, what's number 2 in the list, Jason?
Number 2 is Amphiboids.
What's an amphibioid? What the hell would that be?
They have a human life form, but they're mixed hybrid human and aquatic animal. They can live in water and on land.
In water? Okay, so like a mermaid?
Yeah, I mean that could be kind of that.
I don't know. Like that's all I could think about.
Yeah, fish. I've seen frog people, drawings of them, old ancient pictures. So this could be these amphibioids. It would be cool because these would be easy to be able to live in the ocean.
Yeah, why not?
So, and we've seen spacecraft go in and out of the water.
There's a tribe. I'm trying to think. I remember watching a documentary once with a tribe that they would spearfish, but they let all their oxygen out. They blow it out so their body would be heavy enough so they could walk on the floor, and they'd spearfish lobsters. But over time, the eyeballs of the tribe had evolved so that they would constrict properly underwater to give them normal 20/20 vision. So it wouldn't be blurry.
See, that's crazy.
Yeah, and that's in short time. That's not a long length of time of that practice actually going on. So And if you look at deep sea divers or people that do just regular old diving competitively without equipment, they're what the hell is the name of that organ? Anyway, it's escaping me, the name of this organ. Constricts. No, not that organ. It's the one that helps with, processing, some oxygen in the blood and other stuff.
Like diaphragm or something, yeah.
Something with holding your breath for a long period of time.
Right.
That evolves. And it changes inside, right? It'll either grow or shrink, depending on if you ever spend any time in the water. And the larger it is, I don't want to say gallbladder, it actually allows you to actually hold your breath longer underwater. And so when you look at things that are amphiboids or things that are fish of the sort, they have much larger, I want to say gallbladder, much larger gallbladders would actually help them with that oxygen underneath the water. Even, for instance, in whales, right? Or dolphins.
Yes.
Okay. Damn it. I'm all done with that.
So, Athena, this is interesting. They mentioned this, and they talk about the planet having a climatic situation particularly sodden and heavily waterlogged. Get that. Amphiboids, frogs, if you think of that, salamanders. They mentioned to the point of saturation, Athena, for example, and her folk are among those of this speciation.
Yeah, speciation, right? So that type of species. So Billy Meier had a contact with this extraterrestrial called Athena who had this waterlogged body. And it was a very short one that they had in the first occasion in 1977 and then back again in the year 2000. But they were called Denebians, so they were from the planet Deneb in the Cygnus star system. I don't know where that is in space. I'd probably have to look it up. But interesting that he even noticed that through the contact, and then they had heavily waterlogged bodies where the skin was almost transparent.
That's so cool.
Yeah,
and I think this resonates, like you said. If they're evolved, evolutionary, they're millions of years ahead of us. They're going to have this perfected, whether they're on land or whether they're in sea. They'll perfectly be able to breathe either way. Probably prefer water. Just because we are little aquariums, as you've said before.
It's probably like a safer medium. You know what I mean? Just being in water, and they're probably more sensitive to just about everything else that's going on. And just because they may be like part fucking frog and part human, doesn't mean they're not intelligent. They're probably ripping better math than I can do.
Oh yeah, 100%.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Could you imagine?
How does a frog talk? I have no idea.
Could you imagine
telepathic humanoid frog?
Amphiboids, can you come help us with our submarine design?
Yeah, can you guys? We're trying to redesign scuba flippers. Could you guys help us out with that?
They'd be like, no problem. Next one is, and we talked about this last episode, the lizard people, which they make very clear that David Icke's reptilian conspiracy theory, where 1% of the elite of the world have zippered skins and can unzip themselves.
I love how it's zippered. It's so
I get
barbaric.
I get 1% of the elite. I get that. I get them meeting together, making decisions for the world. That all makes sense to me.
Yeah.
When you can unzip your skin suit and then underneath it you're a reptilian, that doesn't make sense to me. That part doesn't make any
sense.
And we're making fun of it, but I know David Icke is brilliant and he's super smart, and I've read a lot of his stuff, and he has a lot of good things on the. I don't want to, like, just because he's a conspiracy theorist, I don't want people to think that shit on. But he's the Illuminati and all that stuff is really interesting that he's done. He's went back into history and figured shit out. So he just kind of goes off on the reptilian stuff.
He's done some cool stuff, and reptilioids. Where was? So, remember those wolf people of Mexico?
Yes.
Do you remember that?
They're almost like shapeshifters.
Yeah, that whole line of family that looks like that. Whether you're growing hair on your body or your scales or what have you, Jason, it doesn't really seem that far off that someone at some time genetically altered themselves to take the best part about reptiles and then put that within their own body. Think about how protective a scale is.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Imagine if you could be warm-blooded but have perfect temperature regulation and then protect the skin from many, many harsh environments and all those other things. You'd probably do it.
Oh, easy.
Think about the speed reptiles have, their agility, and then you pair that with what's going on with normal humanoids. You know, I don't know. What the hell do I know? But this next one I find, this one's pretty cool. And the reason I think is because I would love to see a giant, like super advanced, like praying mantis with the pincers coming at me like this, but he's like having a conversation, but he's got he's got a British accent.
Yeah, so cheesy B movies where they were just like killing insects, and it was like they were like special forces, and they would go in and they'd have to go into the planet and just kill the insects constantly. There's a name for them. I don't know. They made like 2 or 3 of them, I think, maybe more. I don't know. There's a whole name for them. They're pretty cool, but this is what they're doing. They're battling the insectoids.
That's so funny. Like you got to get rid of the insects with their exoskeletons. So this was a mixed hybrid human, an insect like hexapod invertebrate form. Hexapod. Hexa. How many is that? 6? Yeah, correct. 6, like the turtle logo. So it has essentially 6 fused areas of its in total exoskeleton that builds up this invertebrate, which is wild because it's a humanoid without a spine. I find that crazy.
Turtle is not insectoids with
no, we don't have any. We have no zippered up stuff.
We have 6 on our.
Yeah,
we don't need zippered human suits, but we're not reptilian. We're insectoids.
Oh my god, it's cool, so funny. But it's funny. They said that it shows chitin quality characteristics typical of the crustaceans. So like their skin, their outer form is much like something you'd find underneath the water. But for
like
insect,
a crab.
Yeah, it's like really weird. So it's like it's tough. Like
really? A hexapod invertebrate with almost like you would almost like what's the one that Arnold Schwarzenegger was shooting down in the jungle? Predator.
Oh yeah, it's like Predator. It's that same sort of vibe, like fully insect though.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
this one's not. So you can do the next one. This is how I would describe your hips.
Yeah,
Jason.
We'll do 7 and then we'll do another episode. We can have a part 2.
Really enjoying going through these humanoid forms.
Sauroids. Sauroids are human life forms of mixed human and sauropod-like lizard hip form with the skin similar to that of an elephant or a brontosaurus.
So it's like a Komodo dragon with elephant skin.
That's. I don't know if they're walking around, or if they're on all 4, or they're on 2, or
are they bipedal? Well, they said they're humanoid, so they're bipedal.
Yeah, human life forms. Yeah, they just have skin like elephant or brontosaurus. So
and their hips. So our hips are directly in line with our quadricep and our ass muscle. But imagine you took the leg, shifted it out to the right, and brought it up.
Oh yeah.
And then throw elephant skin on me.
Yes, that's cool looking.
It's kind of cool if you think about it. Imagine how fast you could run because it's on the side, so it just like it's going like a bicycle wheel.
That's super cool. And then next one
we'll do this one because this deals with Washington State, your hometown.
Yeah, we'll do this one and then we'll do part 2. Primatoids.
Don't talk about yourself like that, Jason. Come on, you're a human being.
Yeah, this would be more of me here.
So the Primatoid, they have primate type qualities. I'm sorry, Jason. I really shouldn't be talking about you like this. With a properly hairy body, and they're much stronger than regular terrestrial Neanderthal taxonomy of the humanoid of Earth. So, of a normal human being, like I have tiny little arms, right? You see my little arms. It has arms like you, Jason, just probably 10 times stronger, more like a silverback gorilla, but they're hairy all over. But they have the very pancaked primate face.
Yeah, I wonder these primatoids, the strength compared to, because a gorilla is like crazy strength.
Yeah, remember we were doing that gorilla comparison?
I think they can like pick up a car or something like that. It's fucking crazy.
I had a dream last night. I was picking up a car with one finger.
Wow. Yeah, you're moving. You were doing just like they were building the pyramid, huh? It's moving the block.
Just like that. Just moving blocks, just pointing at shit.
But so, Bigfoot or Sasquatch.
Yeah, okay. So read the full sentence so people get a little context here.
Yeah. So Earth human beings, they are more compatible to the Bigfoot or Sasquatch, but we're not genetically modified like those rare species on Earth were.
I'm sorry, what? So hold on a second.
I said were.
Were not? So they were not in and of itself
modified like those.
So the Bigfoot and Sasquatch are just these rare species that live on Earth, but are completely separate from the primatoids. So the thing we see on Earth is a genetically modified human being, completely separate from these primatoids.
That's what they're saying.
Well, Jason, this also begs a question. You ready for this one?
I love this.
Good old Darwin theory that how did evolution work? We came up from the knuckle dragging ape.
Mm-hmm.
How? How is it that we've evolved and there's still regular monkeys and chimps running around?
I know. That's the thing I've always asked. And they're like, well, it's millions of years. You wouldn't be able to tell that. I was like, well, what about the millions and millions of years ago? You would have a continual process of these.
Mm-hmm.
You would find half ape, half human people.
But you don't see them.
No.
Which tells us that we were genetically modified in some sense. There's
100%.
no way we could have just evolved at the same rate that those other things were evolving, because we'd have hairy chimp people walking around and we don't.
Well, people also have to realize, I mean, even if you believe, let's say you believe in the creation theory of the Bible. Let's just use that.
Mm-hmm.
And God made it. He made the earth, the heavens and the earth, source, whatever you want to say. And so if you're creating something, you could create it and it be one day old, but it look like it's millions of years old with the systems that are in place of it. You know what I mean? And I'm saying, I'm not Bible creation. I'm not saying I believe in that, but I'm just saying, if you created something and it was one day old, it could appear, that creation could appear for it to be heavily evolved. You know what I mean? So why could an alien species create something? You know, why does it have to be like, let's say they had them in water pods or something like that with some special type of fluid and they were growing them, but then it's one day old, but it looks like it's 30. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. When you talk like that, it makes me hungry for lunch. Don't say that stuff.
No, Dolce has all the food.
Yeah.
Human hybrids.
Yeah, human hybrids. Num, 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 num. No, but you're right, though. Like, why does it have to be like that? And, like, look at us. If there's no logical way that we would have evolved at the same damn rate as these other apes. Like, Jane Goodall and her whole thing at Gombe is I'm just going to say it's a crock of shit. It's just logically ass backwards. And if people can't see that, I mean, like, come on. Darwin had some things correct, but in terms of, and when people think survival of the fittest, it's stronger. It's like, no. Well, what happened was there was a genetic alteration that gave something an advantage in a certain environment where it could be a very threatening place. So the moth is more like the color of the bark. Well, lucky for the strain, this one survives. So,
well, even now, look how slow chimpanzees, apes, primates are evolving now, compared to how the vast quickness of humans evolving. I mean, we harness tools, but I mean, look how there has to be some genetically modified. There has to be some humans had to get something that was special per se for us to evolve this fast. You can't go from, making a fire to next thing you know, you're plowing fields to next thing you know, you're making jet engines in the 1920s. I mean,
yeah, please. On. Yeah, come on, get out of here. And when's the last time you saw a chimp building the fire? No, they don't do that. They cannibalize each other and eat other chimps' brains.
Have you seen the monkey that grabbed a seagull out of the air at a zoo?
Get out of here.
You got to look at this right now. It'll take you 2 seconds. It's the best thing ever. So this monkey's in a zoo. It climbs up a pole and just put monkey seagull. It's real popular right now. It'll pop up.
I'm already loading the video. Horror. It says horror as monkey batters seagull to death at the Chester Zoo.
This is what monkeys do. The monkey is, explain what you're watching.
So I got a big warning thing. There's a monkey on top of a pole grabbing a seagull and smashing it violently into the top of this wooden pole. And it's ripping. It's literally ripping its head and its body apart so that it can eat it.
Yeah. So this is what monkeys do. They haven't evolved very much. I imagine 10,000 years ago, monkeys would. I think it's pretty impressive that you live in a zoo and you're. What was the funny part? Supposedly, this was a father with kids filming this.
No, it was a mom. It was a mom, and it says a mom. It says this is in England, and it says a mom said she was enjoying a lovely day out at the Chester Zoo when suddenly she saw a monkey battering the fuck out of a seagull.
Isn't that great?
I need a T-shirt with this monkey. He's my hero.
I know. He's just like hanging out in prison. He's in prison, been in prison all his life. He's like, I wonder if I could fucking snatch a bird out of the air. I've been watching them fly.
Millions of years of genetic advancement, and this is what we found.
This is their level of consciousness. Their second density.
God. Yeah, they are second density. It's what they do. And we have to understand that if you just think about it clearly, there's a limit. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to finish today's episode with the Primatoids and the seagull. Thank you.